Our first guest voted against the Senate bill today, stating that it's amnesty now, enforcement maybe much later. Pleased to welcome Senator David Vitter of Louisiana. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks for the invite.
So tell me more about why you decided not to vote in favor of the immigration bill.
Well, you really just said it. This is an old model we've tried before that's failed before. It's an immediate amnesty with promises of enforcement. It's amnesty now, enforcement maybe later. And that's never worked before. It's always meant amnesty for sure, but the enforcement never materializes. We need that enforcement first. That's what the American people want. And we need to not just promise it for the 20th time. We need to enforce it, verify it, touch it, feel it, make sure it is there, trust but verify, as Ronald Reagan would say.
And the economic impact fascinates me, the dollars and cents of it all, because proponents of this immigration legislation point out, Senator, that it means billions of dollars in Social Security revenue. But you're quick to point out that it actually could mean a $10 billion deficit. Explain to me more on that.
Well, I think the best study in this regard is by an expert named Robert Rector at the Heritage Foundation. And he thought, given the folks that are going to be legalized, it's going to cost the taxpayer more than new revenue into the Treasury. And he went through a very deliberate process to come to those conclusions. And the net negative impact is billions of dollars. So I'm very concerned about that side as well.
You also point out some of these pet projects are eyebrow raisers. Yeah. South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham wants more visas for the meat industry. Senator Charles Schumer pushed for special treatment for Irish workers. You've got Senator Rubio looking for help for the cruise ship industry. Special interest. Does it suggest to you that these lawmakers perhaps may be more interested in keeping their jobs running for higher office than actually immigration reform?
Well, I don't know. I thought earmarks were supposed to be banned, but to me, these are earmarks, pure and simple. They're special interest provisions for themselves, their states, very narrow provisions that clearly came out of this Gang of Eight, their individual states. So there was wheeling and dealing going on there, too.
So the Gang of Eight, as you know, fell short of the 70 votes, getting 68. What is going on within the Republican Party? What is this whole debate, discussion, vote, legislation? What is it doing to the Republican Party? Is it fractured?
Well, there's a big split. Clearly, I was still in the majority of Republicans, but there was a clear split. I think the mistake some of my colleagues made is two things. First of all, I think a lot of them let politics dominate their thinking on this issue. I think we need to focus on the substance, the problem. It's a very real problem. And if we solve this problem, the politics will take care of itself, because the huge majority of Americans will reward anyone who truly solves the problem. Secondly, after focusing on the politics, I think some of my colleagues who voted yes got the politics completely wrong if they think this is going to help and not hurt Republicans.
Is there anything, any component, this legislation that you're in favor of, Senator Vitter?
Well, yes, there are enforcement pieces, but we need to put that first and reverse the order. We can't have a huge amnesty first and then have the enforcement maybe much later. We need to fundamentally reverse that order. But there are particular pieces on the enforcement side that are positive. One piece we need to beef up, Rob Portman was trying to do it, couldn't get it done in this bill, is E-Verify workplace enforcement.
Interesting. Obviously, the bill now goes to the House. House Speaker John Boehner saying it likely won't see the light of day. So this has to be good news for you. So how do you see this all unfolding then after the vote tomorrow?
Well, I think the vote that occurred in the Senate and the number is significant. The proponents were not only hoping for a vote well into the 70s, they were predicting it a week ago. They didn't get close to that. I think that is really significant in terms of building momentum for the House. So where they ended up, I think builds no real momentum for the House.
Thank you so much for the discussion, Senator David Vitter.
Thanks, Laurie.